So hello and good morning students. Again let's start with our chapter and we'll complete the chapter today. So the explanation till page number 103 was already over, and let's start from page number 104. So the place where it ended, this was my reply, and I handed to my startled relative a rusty dagger of singular shape. So the dagger was rusty. Rusty means full of rust. When air and water react on the iron, it becomes rust. So it was a rusty dagger. Why? Because it must be lying there for a long time, and that is why it became rusty. Of singular shape. Singular here means unusual, means not a very common one, but it was a different, unusual. So maybe because it was lying there since a very very long time, that is why it had some different type of shape. Now let's start from page number 104. What made you bring with you so useless a weapon? He exclaimed. So he said that what made you bring this useless weapon? Why? Because it was of no use now, it was already rusted. It was needlessly hampering yourself. Hampering means hindering yourself. I bring it, then he's saying, question mark is there, you see. I bring it. So that means he did not bring it. It is quite new to me. And because this thing is it's very new and he does not know anything about this particular dagger. I never saw it before. Are you sure it is not out of your collection? So he is being asked that is it sure that it was not from your collection? You've just found it here on the ground and it is new to you? Not that I know of, said the professor, puzzled. Puzzled means confused. So the professor was quite confused and he said, not that I know anything about this thing. I have no recollection of the circumstance. Recollection means remembering things. So he cannot remember any of the circumstances. It was never my property, and he's saying that it was not his property, but he just found it there. This is very extraordinary. Extraordinary means which is not a simple thing. I said, musing over the novel and singular incident. Not at all. There is a very simple explanation. Now he is trying to explain. The Icelanders are known to keep up the use of these old-fashioned weapons. So actually the Icelanders, they used to keep these old-fashioned weapons with them. And this must have belonged to Hans. Hans is Henry, who has let it fall without knowing it. So because he must be having this type of weapon, and so it must have fell from him, and he did not know about it. I shook my head. That dagger had never been in the possession of the peaceful and taciturn Hans. So he's saying that no, this dagger never belonged to Henry. I knew him too well, and because he knew this fellow very well, so he's very much sure that no, this dagger doesn't belong to Henry. Then what can it be, unless it be the weapon of some prehistoric warrior? Prehistoric means very old time warrior. So this could be that. I continued, of some living man, a contemporary of that mighty shepherd from whom we have just escaped. So now he is saying that maybe it belonged to that prehistoric warrior. I continued, of some living man, a contemporary of that mighty shepherd from whom we have just escaped. Escaped means they just escaped when they came to that place. But no mystery upon mystery. This is no weapon of the Stony Era. Stony Era, the time of Stone Age. Nor even of the Bronze period, so of the Bronze Age. It is made of excellent steel. So because it is made up of excellent steel, and that is why it doesn't belong to the Stone Age era and the Bronze period also. So you must have studied in your history or in your history about the Stone Age, isn't it? Paleolithic age and all that, so Bronze Age. So it doesn't belong, that means it was some recent time. The steel was discovered very late. My uncle stopped me short from entering upon a whole train of theories and spoke in his most cold and decided tone of voice. So, uncle actually stopped him by just thinking about all these old stories, and he just commented on some other things. And in his calm voice, he said, "Calm yourself, my dear boy. The calm yourself, my dear boy. The endeavor to use your reason. Reason means your thinking power. So you must use your thinking power. Don't just fall into some old stories. This weapon is one of those worn by gentlemen in their belts during the 16th century." So he's saying that during the 16th century, the warriors they used to wear it in their belts. Its use was to give the final blow to the foe. Foe is the enemy. So whenever they was there fighting in the fields, it was used to give the final blow, means to almost kill the enemies who would not surrender. So many a time when they used to face their enemies, okay, and it was their last chance to gain their life. So what they would do, they would give that final blow to their enemy, and the enemy who would not go behind, who would not go back, then they would just kill that enemy, and this dagger was used for it. It is clearly of Spanish workmanship. So some people, Spain people, the people of country Spain. So it is clearly of Spanish workmanship. So the people working on these iron things. So some of the Spanish people, it belonged to those people. It was the workmanship of those people. It belongs neither to you nor to me, nor the hunter, nor to any of the living beings who may still exist so marvelously in the interior of the earth. So he's saying that it doesn't belong to any one of us, but it is a very old dagger, and it is clearly like workmanship of some Spanish people, so it is very old. "What can you mean, uncle?" I said. "Look closely at it," he continued. "These jagged edges were never made by resistance of human blood and bone. The blade is covered with a regular coating of iron, mold, and rust, which is much more than a century old." So he's saying, see, it is not very, very old. It is not covered with human blood or any bone sort of thing, but this regular coating is there on top of this dagger. It is just made up of iron, and because it's made up of iron, it got rusted also, which is much more than a century old. So it is just a century old, 100 years old. The professor began to get quite excited and was allowing himself to be carried away by his fertile imagination. Fertile means useful imagination. So he could imagine very well because he was quite an experienced man. He cried, "We are now on the verge of a great discovery. This blade of a dagger you have so marvelously discovered after being abandoned upon the sand for more than 100 of years has been invented by someone endeavoring to carve an inscription on these rocks." So he said, now this particular dagger, it is being used by any of the old man almost 100 years back, and he has been using this to write something on the rocks. Okay, so now we'll come to the next page, that is page number 105. So, but this dagger never got here of itself, I exclaimed. So he said, yes, but anyhow this dagger didn't come almost all by itself, but somebody must have come this way and it fell there. It could not have twisted itself. Someone therefore must have preceded us upon the shores of this extraordinary sea. Yes, a man. So ultimately they came to the conclusion that yes, some man must have come here and it must have fell from his possession only. But what man has been sufficiently desperate to do such a thing? So he said, but why he was so desperate to bring such a thing with him, or what use? So he's just thinking about a man who has somewhere written his name with this very dagger. So he must have written his name with this dagger. A man who has endeavored once more to indicate the right road to the interior of the earth. So maybe he also must have come this way. He also must be trying to enter the interior of the earth, and there he must have inscribed something. He must have written, "Let us look around, my boy, you know not the importance of your singular and happy discovery." So he said, what discovery? The dagger. So, this singular dagger which you have discovered, so let us find its importance. Where we can find it. Extremely interested, we walked along the wall of rock, examining the smallest fissures. Fissures are long, deep cracks within the mountains. So these are the fissures. Fissures you can find the cracks between, and where you can, they are very deep actually. People can enter also. We at last reached a spot where the shore became extremely narrow. Extremely narrow means very narrow, where you can't even enter. That is narrow. The sea almost bathed the foot of the rocks, and there the sea almost touched those rocks, which were here very lofty and steep. Lofty are very high, and steep means very steep, where you can't even climb those things. There was scarcely a path wider than 2 yards at any point. At last, under a huge overhanging rock, we discovered the entrance of a dark and gloomy tunnel. So, at the end of that mountain, they found that there was a tunnel sort of thing, and it was very gloomy. Gloomy means which is very dark. So, that tunnel they found, and then they tried to enter that tunnel. There, on a square tablet of granite, we could see two mysterious and much worn letters, the two initials of the bold and extraordinary traveler who had preceded us on our adventurous journey. So, actually, when they entered this gloomy tunnel, they found two alphabets carved on a stone. You can see this two alphabets, A and S, is there. So, actually, this was a traveler who had preceded. Preceded means come before these people. So he was the one who reached before these people. So that means he had already visited, and there he was the one who had carved these inscriptions, these two letters on a stone. Initials, bold, extraordinary traveler who had preceded us on our adventurous journey. A.S. cried my uncle. So the uncle, he cried and he said, "Oh, A.S." That means he almost recognized that person. You see, I was right. Arne Saknussemm. So actually this was the man, Arne Saknussemm. He had already come to that place, and he was the one to inscribe these two letters by that dagger. So by this we come to the end of the chapter. I had already posted one film that was in the last period, the last Friday when we attended. So actually this is just an excerpt. This is not the whole story. Actually it's a whole novel where you can just read. So there are many parts, and after this also you can find that there are more parts.